start with roll call.
Councilmember Deschler.
Here.
Councilmember Kolb.
Here.
Councilmember LaRoche.
Here.
Councilmember Parsons.
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Budashevsky is absent. And Councilmember Dahl.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have an agenda before us. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make
Nancy?
a motion to approve.
Thank you. Looking for a second.
Second.
Yeah. Elizabeth, thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. First, we have our consent agenda, and that is to approve the minutes for the following meetings: the regular council meeting on February 5th, and the work session from that same date, and a council work session from February 8th, and then a list of license applications submitted by the city clerk to the city council. That list is on file in her office. And then approval of solicitor licenses for custom remodelers to go door to door in Crystal through December 31st, 2018. And then approval of a revised community outreach task force bylaws. And then approval of a resolution seeking Hennepin County funds for Bass Lake Road Promenade. And then approval for a resolution seeking the community development block grant funds for the construction of an accessible playground in Becker Park. And then approval of a resolution authorizing the outdoor recreation grant application to the Department of Natural Resources for the play area in Becker Park as well. Looking for a motion on this one. Olga?
I move approval.
Thank you. Looking for a second. Julie?
I'll second.
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. If I talk faster, we'll be done in 2 minutes.
I like
No. I think I'm talking plenty fast. Open forum. Is there anybody here wishing to speak during open forum? Not seeing anyone approach, we will skip by open forum. Just a quick reminder that is an opportunity for you to speak to the council about any issue for approximately 3 minutes, 10 minutes per topic, so you are welcome to come and chat with us. Next, we move on to the regular agenda. Council will consider approval of disbursements of $25,000 or greater, and I will read those into the record. First item is the Golden Valley Joint Water Commission, and that's for water costs for December 2017, $117,452. And then to the IRS for federal and FICA withholding taxes for pay date 1/29/18. That amount is $57,254. LOGIS for computer system support for December 2017 is $38,501. Motorola Solutions for 15,800 megahertz radios for engineering, $48,748. MTI Distributing for new 2015 mower with a trade-in. I'm not going to read the model numbers if you don't mind. $56,651. And then Para for employee and city required contributions for pay date 1/29/18, $63,320. Traffic Control Corporation for flashing yellow arrows, and that is $36,376. Finally, the U.S. Bank for debt service bonds. Principal and interest payment for February 1st is $1,533,516. Total disbursements of $25,000 or greater are $1,951,790.99. All right. Any questions on these?
Nope. I make a motion to approve.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Looking for a second.
I'll
Nancy?
second.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Just a note, I asked Ann to take a look at what the principal balance is for our bonds, because that's kind of one of our things, is to buy down bonds. I think we're at about 20 million right now, roughly. So just kind of one of those things we want to keep watching. Next item. 5.2, we will consider a resolution approving a variance to reduce the rear setback from 30 feet to 10 feet at 5573 Zane Avenue. And John Sutter, our Community Development Director, is here to address that.
All right.
So welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Adams, council members. This is something that I think you're all familiar with because it involves an Economic Development Authority lot that we are in the process of selling. It's located at the southwest corner of Zane and Bass Lake Road, also known as 56th Avenue North. The builder, Novak Fleck, has made a proposal, and the EDA has authorized the sale to them to build a new single-family home on this lot. The applicant desires to reduce what's technically and definitionally, I think I just invented a word, the rear setback, but it's basically the south setback, 10 feet instead of the 30 feet required under the ordinance. This is a corner lot, and while it's definitionally the rear yard, the south will actually look and function like a side yard. It's also important to note that the builder has agreed to place the house 30 feet from the property line along Zane Avenue, which will be functionally the front yard, instead of the 20-foot minimum required under the code. This all has to do with corner lots and how the yards are defined, and on corner lots, it's always weird. I don't know how else to put it. So this is a good example of that. So the short frontage of the two is considered the front lot line. That's where Bass Lake Road is. And even though that is the shorter frontage, it makes no sense to face the house that way because it's a busy county road versus the nice side street of Zane Avenue. So without the variance, the house located here would be 20 feet further north, so that this 10-foot setback here would meet the definitional rear yard setback of 30 feet. It's important to note that on this corner lot, they are providing greater than a 30-foot setback from the east and from the north. Typically in Crystal, every property has at least two 30-foot minimum setbacks. For a regular lot, it's the front and then it's the rear. We have a history, and this, you'll see this in some of the findings coming up in Crystal, of for corner lots, depending on how the property owner wants to orient the house, if they want to put both their 30-foot setbacks along the street frontages and have less than 30 feet on one of the interior lot lines, we generally allow them to do that. So the requested variance here would be consistent with that past practice. So we believe that this variance is justified because it's a reasonable use of the property. It's in harmony with the intent of the zoning regulations. There are unique circumstances here. The lot was originally platted to face 56th Avenue. That doesn't make sense anymore because the road is much busier than it was many decades ago, and the road has also been widened. There will be more usable yard and open space on the north side of the home. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any really large yard for normal rear yard activities. And the unusual lot configuration is unique to the property, not created by the applicant or their proposed use of the property. Also, this is not solely for economic reasons. The builder has indicated that they could and would build the home and then would be able to sell the home without the variance. It's just that it would have less usable yard space. So again, picture this house 20 feet north of where it's drawn on here. Yeah, they could build that house in that location and they could sell it. But the house would then forever have no real significant, usable, functional rear yard. So as I said, it would be set back 30 feet from Zane, which is consistent with the other houses on the block. It would actually fit better to the area to have the south setback be 10 feet instead of 30 feet, because as I mentioned earlier, that looks like a side yard. And in fact, the distance from the new home to the adjacent home to the south will actually be greater, a little bit, but still somewhat greater than the existing home to the south is from its neighbor to the south. And I already mentioned the city has previously granted variances in similar situations. So here is a comparison. You can see the two existing homes to the south, the distance from, with the variance, the distance from the south wall of the new home to the north wall of the neighbor to the south is actually about 5 feet greater than the distance from the south wall of the existing home to its neighbor to the south. So even with the variance, this home will certainly fit the layout of the rest of the block. At the Planning Commission's public hearing on February 12th, no one from the public testified, and the Planning Commission did vote to recommend approval of the variance. So tonight we are asking you to adopt the resolution approving the variance to reduce the south setback from 30 feet to 10 feet.
All right, thank you, John. Any questions on this item from council? Pretty straightforward. We've seen it. We've talked about it. Olga?
I was just going to make a motion to approve the variance to reduce the rear setback from 30 to 10 feet at 5573 Zane Avenue North.
All right, thank you, Olga. Joy?
I'll second.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, if you'd like to go right into the next item, you're welcome to it.
All right, thank you again. This is a plat just across the road and a little to the west of EDA property at the northeast corner of Adair and Bass Lake Road. These properties are purchased as basically leftover county road project land in August of 2015. There used to be 3 homes in this location, but the county acquired the properties and demolished all 3 homes for that road project. The westerly portion of those 3 original lots is taken up by road easement for the realigned Adair Avenue. And the EDA wants to replat what's left over basically into 2 lots for new single-family homes. The proposed subdivision will conform to the comprehensive plan and the requirements of the Unified Development Code. The new lots will be addressed as 5612 and 5016 Adair Avenue North. We expect, given the hot housing market, that builders would purchase these lots by summer of this year, and the new homes will probably be done and probably even sold sometime this fall. So here is the preliminary plat. The final plat is simply a cleaner version of this. It's the document that actually gets recorded. Tonight we're asking you to approve both, so we can go ahead and proceed with the platting, recording the plat, and selling the lots as soon as we can. Lot 1 would be 5618 Adair. Lot 2 would be 5612 Adair. They would both be between 9,000 and 10,000 square feet in area. They meet all zoning requirements. And the next item on the agenda tonight, actually, Mark Reill is going to cover this, but just to give you a preview, now that we know how this vacant leftover land on the east side of Adair is going to be used, it makes sense to designate parking restrictions or change parking restrictions on this short segment of Adair Avenue, where right now the current parking restrictions don't really make sense given how the properties are going to be used, and we'll explain that a little bit more, or Mark will in his item. We would make these changes before the lot is sold. The lots are sold. So existing utility mains are in place. The EDA will have to install, replace, or repair some water and sewer services. There are overhead power lines along the north and east sides of the property, but the services to the new homes, as always, will be required to be underground. The site is less than 1 acre, so we don't have to do any special stormwater management works. And no park dedication fee is required because there used to be 3 lots here, now there are going to be 2. So it's actually a net reduction over the previous condition. The Planning Commission held the public hearing on February 12th. There was no public comment, and they recommended approval of the subdivision. So tonight we're asking you to adopt the resolution approving the preliminary and final plat of this subdivision, which is named Crystal Economic Development Authority 8th Edition.
All right. Any questions from the council?
Can we name it something cool like Sutter's Terrace, Volume 3?
Really? Julie?
I'll make a motion to approve the Crystal EDA Development Authority 8th Edition preliminary and final plat.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second. Olga?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Just so bland is all. You know?
All right, next we have our city engineer, Public Works Director, Mark Reill, here to address the council on the parking, so welcome.
Good evening. So John basically did the good overview here. What we're going to do is restrict parking on the west side entirely. On the east side, no parking will be permitted 30 feet roughly from the intersection of Bass Lake Road. Parking will then be permitted on the east side all the way up to the intersection of Adair. I'd say really what this is just clarifying functionally what probably happens out there already. So with that, are there any questions?
Questions? Pretty clear, Mark. Thanks.
No parking on Sutter's Terrace right there.
All right, looking for a motion on this one. Julie?
I'll make a motion to establish street parking restrictions on Adair Avenue North between Bass Lake Road and Lakeland Avenue.
All right, thank you.
I will second that.
Thanks, Nancy. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mark, you have the next one as well, relating to ramp improvement?
Yep, so these are just pedestrian ramp improvements. A fair number of the pedestrian ramps in the city were reconstructed as part of the reconstruction projects. Now we're looking to go back and pick up the ones that weren't done by the reconstruction projects. The screenshot here, the one on the left obviously was not done. The one on the right was. Because we're trying to make them compliant with Americans with Disability Act, there's a lot of details you have to have in there and certain cross slopes and all that good stuff. So the proposal is to have a contract with SDH where about $2,100 of that would be for design documents. And the intent is we know we're going to have to do this every year for a few years. So hopefully if we just get these standard plans put together, we can just keep recycling it every year and then just in-house do the construction observation. So the proposal is for $6,200, 21's for design. The balance of that is for actual construction observation. We're going to give the contractor a large window to do the work, but if it just so happens where it lines up where they want to get it and do the work while we have our in-house mill and overlay and some other projects going, we can't provide adequate supervision, SDH staff will provide that supervision. So we're hoping to do it in-house, but if we can't, we want to have this ready to go if needed. So with that, the motion is to approve the agreement with SDH for professional services for the pedestrian curb ramp improvement project.
All right, any questions on this item?
I do.
Go ahead, Julie.
Oh, okay. Question, can you bring that slide back, side by side? Just curious about the rust. Is that just the appearance, or is it going to deteriorate over time?
The rust of the appearance because they're metal plates that
Okay.
rust. They've actually tried some other
They're
ones that were
sealed, though.
plastic that we've sufficiently destroyed with sidewalk removal equipment.
Oh,
So the rust holds up. While it does do the rusting thing, it at least stays in the ground and doesn't shatter.
great.
The rusting thing. The corrosion. Julie?
My question really isn't on the actual curb area there, but when we're doing snow plowing, I've noticed some people like in wheelchairs in my area that are kind of waiting for a bus or something like that. And so I got to thinking the other night, when we're doing our plowing, how long does it take us to get to these handicap access curbs? Is that kind of a priority to get those cleared so that people can?
So when we do snow removal on sidewalks, I would say the priority is we try to go after the areas that are used most.
Okay.
Just across the board to get them open. And then because we don't necessarily know exactly where the people are.
Right.
And so we want to just try to clear as much as we can, as fast as we can.
So if we had, say, for instance, handicapped people in an area that really needed it cleared quicker, if they contacted City Hall, maybe you could put that on a target map to get done quicker?
I think it's be a good thing to follow up with in our work session later, but what we don't want to do is just drive to a location. We prefer to plow our way out. So
Yeah.
the way the routes are set up is we have a north route and a south route for sidewalks. And so they actually will leave Public Works and go up West Broadway and then make a right and go down Bass Lake Road and kind of work that whole downtown area and come back. So I wouldn't want to commit to say that we're going to prioritize one person because we're trying to get our network open as quickly as possible. That said, the downtown area, and then we try to get down Douglas as quickly as possible because we don't want people in the streets there. Of all the spots, we don't want you in the street on a county road.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, looking for a motion. Nancy?
I'll make a motion to award professional services contract for pedestrian curb ramp improvements.
All right, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Elizabeth. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, next is the automation of the HVAC. Mark?
So this is just really continuing on what's been done in the past. We did the boiler replacement and control system, I believe, 2 years ago. And so now we're working more towards the overall HVAC system, both here and as well as the community center. A couple key issues we have now is there's no replacement parts available. If something goes wrong, the only way we know about it is somebody goes, wow, it's hot, or wow, it's cold. We don't get any alerts pushed out of this system. So with the new one, we'll be able to get some alerts and some automatic notifications. $33,000 was budgeted with it. Because we already have a contract with Reill for maintenance, as well as they're the ones that put in the boiler control system. We got a proposal from them, so everything just, again, works together. It will be kind of an integrated overall system. So with that, the cost was, I believe, $31,900. It's not a coincidence.
All right. Julie?
I mean, it seems nice, but do we really need it? I mean, when it's hot, you can't somebody just say, you know what, it's pretty hot. Or when it's cold, it's pretty cold.
So,
How
yeah.
do you say that?
I think the better way to frame it is with what we've learned in the past is we don't know where the problem is now.
Okay.
And so we bring in somebody who's like, okay, start working down the line for troubleshooting. The boiler is a great example. We now have sensors throughout the system. When things break, we don't bring a tech in and say, okay, here's what's not working. Good luck. Go find it. Brad has actually handled some stuff just over the phone because of what we can see from the information available. So now that'll expand beyond just the boilers to the more HVAC control system as well as the community center, which is a giant black hole in terms of what goes on there. We don't really know. We know, yes, it turns on and off, but is there a more efficient operation? We have no way of knowing that. And this will allow us to start down that process.
You want to not have air conditioning?
No, I'm not saying that, but I mean, you know, if it just all of a sudden turns like 90 degrees in a room, it's pretty clear that something's wrong with the air conditioner. I mean, do you see a value in this?
Yeah, so last summer we had the air conditioning go out on the police side. It went out on Saturday evening. Sunday morning we got a call. It was like 90 degrees on there.
Right.
And then we were trying to figure out how to figure out what the problem was. Because we didn't know, we couldn't see anything with the system. And I don't know, Brad was at his cabin and called the tech, and they ended up, I think they came out and quickly figured it out, but we still had that service call on a weekend to diagnose a situation that actually was pretty quick to fix, and it's one of the parts we're replacing as part of this work that you can't get spares for. Kind of a funny story. The guy has a box in his truck of spare parts for old stuff. Had he not had that part in that box, we would have been doing this last year.
All right, Nancy?
Are there any energy savings with this modernization?
Yeah, so the intent is we'll because we know what will be going on, we'll be able to control it better. The classic example of that is with the community center. Turns out there was some vent roofs that were just open. So like literally there was air just flowing out, hot air flowing out that we caught through some of this evaluation work. This room now sits cooler during the week because we have control with the boiler.
Thank you.
All right. Looking for a motion on this item. Olga?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the modernization of the HVAC building automation systems at both the community center and city hall.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Elizabeth. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And then the next is the South Sanitary Lift Station Power Supply.
Well, if you thought HVAC was exciting, this one's super exciting. So what I was going to do here is say, let me take you back to 1954, and then I was going to show a picture from the South Lift Station that I took yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to doing that. But what's basically going on here is it has the old 240 power. We're having issues with reliability because there's more customers in this network with Excel using 240, so our service, it bounces a little bit, which is hard on the equipment, and I can get a little more technical if you like, but it's creating issues. And so we're trying to look by going to this 480 to have a more reliable power source to operate the equipment and not to see some of the mechanical issues we're having because the power is fluctuating a little bit. The total purchase cost was, we had about $50,000 allocated for this. The total cost came in at just $95,000. What happened was when we started meeting with the contractors, because the building was so dated, it was like, you can't just only work on this electrical. We're basically replacing all the electrics through the entire building because there was no stopping point with that. We have $50,000 allocated. The manhole lid project did come in under. So we're still under budget across all utility funds, but we'll be needing to do some flexibility there. With that, are there any questions?
Questions on this one?
Can't wait. Okay.
I don't have any question, but I mean, I'm not gonna squabble over anything to do with sanitary lift power supply, I'll tell you that.
That's right. Elizabeth would know.
As long as it works.
Yeah, you live near it,
Yeah, that's the,
So,
well,
the higher voltage, so you're going back and doing that, you have to change out part of the pumps, don't you?
No, we just have to, actually, we're just changing out the controls, the control starter motor for it to go to variable drive.
Okay.
So instead of just going on and off, we can kind of ramp a little more to get some longer life out of the pumps with that.
Okay.
technical correction.
Uh-oh.
The resolution in front of us says we're going from 240 volts to 280 volts. That should be
460.
400 and 480.
Yes.
Where we're going?
Good
220,
catch.
221, whatever it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
480.
Thanks, Mr. Mom.
Do you want to go to 490? You sure we're good at 480?
Or not to exceed.
Not to exceed 480. That's perfect.
All right.
Okay. I'd make a motion with that to approve that with that minor technical correction.
Awesome.
Major technical correction, actually.
Thank you, Jeff. Looking for a second?
I can second that, and I have a question though. Does this mean it'll stink less over
Nope.
there?
Don't worry.
We need to work on that one.
We have to move it then.
No, there are ways. It's just money, right?
It's just money. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So, no, I'll just say that for work session. We are on 8. Next, we will consider a resolution approving the plans and specifications and authorizations for bid advertisements for the Bass Lake Road Streetscape Project. John Sutter is here to talk to us. Thanks, welcome back.
Okay, thanks again, and I think you've seen all this before, so just for the benefit of the public, just a quick recap here. And I think the first date under recap is wrong there. That's supposed to be March 28th of 2017, is when we started the detailed design work on the Bass Lake Road Streetscape, and went through the summer with a community meeting, including specific invitations to the business owners on the north side of Bass Lake Road. And then looked at sort of a final concept this summer, got to detailed design, costs went way up, and so we scaled it back a little bit, but kept the most important elements of the project, and here we are, ready to go to bid. Significant elements remaining in the project. I won't go through the list, but I'll show you the illustrations. So the streetscape is over 30 years old. It's wearing out. We either need to repair it in its current configuration, which doesn't make sense because the streetscape doesn't really work anymore, or we need to replace it. So we have opted for a full replacement. It's basically a 2-block stretch on the north side of Bass Lake Road from Elmhurst west to Sherburne, and then Sherburne west to where Hampshire Avenue used to go, which is right by the Nakoma Shoe Store. It'll be all new sidewalk on the north side. There'll be sort of a traveled way. There'll also be this decorative pattern concrete in areas where we need to have some type of a non-landscape buffer between the sidewalk and the roadway. And where we do have enough width to do landscaping, we will do that, and that's examples here and here. We're also going to shift the parking lot curb a little to the north. There'll still be the same number of parking spaces. We're just using the space more efficiently so that we can have meaningful landscaping between the parking lot and the sidewalk without pushing the sidewalk right against the road curb like it is today. We are also going to dramatically improve the lighting along the roadway, on the sidewalk, and in the parking lot, especially that large parking lot west of where Sherburne is. If you've ever been in that parking lot at night, you know it's very, very dark at night. We do have a couple small lights in there. They're not very effective. We're going to go to LEDs. We're going to add a second luminaire on the back of a pole on the roadway right here. You notice there's a gap in the trees here. Well, that's to make sure that the light from the new light gets into the parking lot. So that parking lot is going to be much better lit than it is now. The roadway and the sidewalks will be much better lit, and they'll all be LEDs from the BNSF rail corridor west to the Hampshire alignment. The next block to the east, this is where the King of Olympic Cafe and so forth is. Going to have a parking bay. I need to zoom out here, I think. For 12 parallel spaces in that area where the landscaping is now, the big brick planters, and then landscaping at the two ends of it. We're going to reserve a little space for Metro Transit to add a bus shelter in the future as part of the Blue Line project. And then we're going to have a little mini plaza here at the northwest corner of Elmhurst and Bass Lake Road. The idea there being is that it provides a nice overlook of Becker Park, and it's also a nice midpoint between where people might be traveling from on the light rail or wherever to get to the commercial district. So with that, the plans and specs have been completed. The estimated project cost for construction and construction engineering is $650,000. That number has not changed since the November work session when we last discussed this. And we ask you to adopt the resolution approving the plans and specs and authorizing the advertisement for bid. We expect to do the bidding in March, construction May through July with some wrap-up construction by the fall when Frolics is done with. And this should all be ready and completely done by the end of September. So with that, we do request your adoption of the resolution.
All right, thank you. Any questions for John on this item?
I have one
I
question.
may have one.
Okay.
Guys are killing me today. So, in that particular corridor, we're going to be doing quite a bit of investment in the next few years. Did you want to speak at all to that?
Sure.
Okay.
So this is kind of the precursor. This is a 2018 project. Like I said, about $650,000 in construction and construction-related engineering. Then next year we have Becker Park. That's going to include redoing the trail on the south side of Becker. Now, as part of this year's project, we are doing the lights, the street lighting on both sides, so those will already be upgraded going into next year. Then we're going to do Becker with a big stormwater project and completely redoing the park to make it into a kind of a town square. All told, there's going to be about $5 million of public investment, not all from the city, a good share of it from other agencies, but a total of $5 million in public investment between the streetscape and Becker Park in the next 2 years. So that section of Bass Lake Road and the adjacent area from County Road 81 west towards Broadway is going to look all new, basically, or significantly newer. And there'll be a great deal of investment in that area. And we hope that that will serve as a catalyst for private investment in many of those properties where, frankly, the current public infrastructure doesn't really encourage a lot of private investment. We hope to kind of flip the switch and change that dynamic.
All right, thank you for that. I think it's important as we do just a piece of a project that's got a greater impact. I think it's important to keep that in mind. So, all right. Did you want to say something over here, Julie?
Can I make, I'm not going to take your motion.
Okay.
Can I make,
All right, jump
can I make a
ahead.
comment on that?
Yeah.
I do want to say in the context of the greater kind of, because, you know, things are kind of fluid on this whole Blue Line extension piece and whether the LRT ends up getting built or not. that the investments in this corridor are necessary and make sense regardless
Right.
of what the ultimate. This is something that we needed to do. It's probably overdue anyway, and that it's more coincidental than anything that this this it may have been a catalyst for talking about that kind of activity, but the activity was required regardless, and it's not like we're throwing money away if the train never gets built, which I don't know if it will be, but that's neither here nor there. But that's my comment on that. This is
And that would be a regional perspective.
yes.
Thank you. Julie?
Okay. In the 6 or 7 years that I've been on the council, one of my passions has always been to just improve the quality and the look and the, feel, image of the Bass Lake Street corridor. And I think Olga shares my same vision because, we both represent the northern portion of Crystal. So I guess it's my honor and kind of a long time coming for me to make a motion to approve plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the Bass Lake Road streetscape.
All right, thank you, Julie. Second, Olga?
I'll second that, unless Elizabeth had a question.
Go
I
for it.
saw
No,
her.
I'm good. I got
Okay.
the question answered.
I will second that.
All right, thank you. No other questions, comments? Seeing none, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Should have had champagne.
Let's save it till it's done.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We do have some announcements. The Crystal Business Association will meet Wednesday, February 21st at 8:30 a.m. at St. Therese. Next city council meeting will be Tuesday, March 7th at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. The council will hold a work session on March 8th at 6:30 in the conference room A. The Crystal Ball will be held Saturday, March 24th at the Crystal Community Center. Tickets are available at the Crystal Community Center as well as on the website. Reminder, boys and girls Scout troops are invited to lead the Pledge of Allegiance at any council meeting. You're welcome to do a flag ceremony as well. Anyone interested, please contact staff or any council member and we'll get that set up for you. Reminder that the meetings and work sessions are open to the public. If you are interested in looking back at some meetings for viewing or listening, that may be done on our website as well. Julie, you had one?
I do. For the last few years, we've done a bowling fundraiser event for Rocco, and we will be doing it again this year. And I just gotta double check here.
Double check.
Sunday, March 18th. I'm not sure why it's not in the announcements, but sign up at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday, March 18th at New Hope Bowl. We're going to just bowl 2 games this time, just to shorten it up a little bit so it doesn't end up to be an entire day event. But Rocco will be there for photographs, and then we'll have a light lunch, and we have some great prizes to raffle afterwards. It's a great fundraiser, a great way to get the community together, and a great way to show support for Officer Rocco. So we hope to see many of you there.
Julie, is all of it at New Hope Bowl, or are we
No.
splitting it at the V again?
Splitting it again because they provide free lunch.
Oh, yes, great.
They always do, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of why we navigate back there, and then it's easy to set up prizes and have the raffle drawing. And so last year we raised a little over $4,000, and I think we're hoping to match that or exceed that this year, hopefully. And I've got prizes coming in from lots of places, so
All right.
hope to see you there.
Thank you for doing that, Julie. Any other announcements? Go ahead.
Not an announcement, but a question, and Sarah's in the back, our fire chief, and I wondered how the memorial blood drive went last Thursday. I was at the New Hope location, and we had a...
New Hope location. Can you
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, well, we did both, Crystal and New
No, I
Hope.
know.
But
you're
isn't
from
it a
Crystal. Is
contest?
It was a
competition?
contest, I didn't know
All
if, did you get any results? Did we
haven't
win?
gotten the results yet.
Okay.
No results yet. Okay.
We won.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Any other?
busy at both locations.
Yay.
Good.
Good.
Go ahead,
I
Julie.
guess I do have one. And if you couldn't get to the West Metro Fire blood drive, if you missed it, there is another opportunity on Thursday, February 28th. It is the Civil Air Patrol is hosting it at the Crystal VFW from 2 to 8. And I'll get it posted on the Light of Crystal and a few other places too. So it's the Red Cross blood drive.
All right. I got one too. FPU, Financial Peace University, that's a Dave Ramsey personal finance class. I'll be hosting that locally on April 5th. So if anybody's interested in a refresher or interested in attending, you can go to the Dave Ramsey website and sign up for that. What I am looking for anybody who may have already taken the class, I'm looking for people who will walk beside someone in recovery. We're finding that people in recovery in our area specifically, when they go through and take this class, they need a little bit more attention, a little bit more personal attention. So if there's anybody who's taken the class and wants to help walk with somebody in recovery and help them with their financial journey, please contact me. I'm trying to get a list of mentors put together for that. And that's that. So April 5th, it'll be in Crystal, and that would be at daveramsey.com. Look for the date, and you'll find the locations for that. Anything else? All right, with that, looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
I'll second it.
thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. Have a great week.
We have a meeting.
All right, we're sitting here.
Sorry.